and affiliation. Coach?
Okay, well, first, not to take anything away from Penn State, so start with them. They did a really good job, well coached, like we said. Their team played physical. They were prepared to come in here and play the game that they did. So credit to Coach Franklin, their team. They played hard, and they played physical tonight. And, you know, I thought our crowd was fantastic. I thought the energy and what they brought tonight, I mean, all that in the environment, like we said, it was exactly what we thought it would be. And so, you know, we appreciate that. We're disappointed in the performance. We're disappointed in the loss, obviously. And you can look at the stats. It's pretty matter of fact. I think football really comes down to that, just the execution piece. And you lose the turnover battle. That's number one. And then I think tackling, you know, that was another area that we can improve on. But overall, you know, red zone, they were 5 for 5 in the red zone. We were 2 for 4. And those penalties hurt us, or excuse me, the turnovers hurt us when it was all said and done. But, you know, for us as a team, you know, like I told our guys in the locker room there, I mean, football's a matter of fact. You got to be able to do your job. You got to be in the right position. You got to execute the plays that we have out there, and we got to be better at that. And that's got to start on Sundays. That goes all the way through the week. That's what we do as coaches. We get our guys prepared. We didn't have them prepared well enough tonight to go out there and play the game that we wanted to. So I've got to do a better job. We all do as coaches to get these guys prepared to go out there and play against really good football teams. They continue to keep getting better, all right, as the season goes on. And Penn State was that football team tonight, and so a credit to them. You know, they did their job, and we have areas that we know we need to improve on, and we'll work on those. We'll identify those specifically on Sunday, what they are. We'll work on those on Sunday. Then we'll flush this game. We'll get on to Missouri. All right, and that'll be the mindset. And the key is, you know, really how we handle the disappointment. This is football. Things happen in football, and how you handle it is really the key to the success of your football team, in my opinion. And everyone's going to have some type of disappointment at some point. All right, we're 2-0 coming this game. Now we lost this football game, and we still have a long season ahead of us, and there's a lot of football to play. So what we do moving forward is going to be the key to our success, all right, and this season. And I think those guys understand that. I think the coaches understand that. But we got to get it done at the end of the day. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And so myself, that's where it begins. And then, you know, for everybody else in there, we know what we have to do moving forward. So those guys were all ears, and we will get back to work on Sunday. But congratulations to Penn State. I'm disappointed for our players as well. I know they worked hard this week in practice. They wanted to come out and play well. And so those guys, you know, they're hurt right now. And we got to take that into the next week and find ways to improve in those areas. So we will do that. This team will do that. We will do that. We will do that as coaches, and we will have our guys through this week of preparation ready to go when we go play against Missouri on Saturday. But I do want to thank everybody for being at the game and what they brought. That was awesome. And now we got to go out there and we got to put the time and the work in to make sure that we are prepared to go out there and play the way that we all hope we can play, and that to our expectations and the standards that we have for this football team. So with that, questions?
Back left, Coach.
Ike Jones with the War Report. Coach, was the messaging mostly from the coaches to the players, or were there any players that were actually vocal in the locker room to try to get the spirits in the right place?
No, I mean, I think, yeah, the spirits were in the right place. I don't think it was the spirits being in the right or wrong place. I think it's, when you look at it, I think it's pretty matter of fact. It comes down to, you know, we got to be in the right gaps, or we got to run the right routes. We got to do all the things. You got to execute, you know, what you're doing out there. That's really what it comes down to. I thought the emotion all week long was where it needed to be. These guys, they put in time, they prepared, but we got to be better at it. And there's things that we know that we can improve on. And so I'll say it, and I've said it every week, I really believe in the process and how you put in the work each and every day, and that's what matters. And so where did we miss that? We'll identify that. What were the things that they did that you know, we weren't prepared for, or we didn't see, or things that we have to be better at? That's exactly what we identify, and we work on those. Because you'll see them again. You know, that's the one thing. You'll see that. Teams will watch that, and so you got to go back and you got to fix your problems is what you have to do. And so to me, that takes discipline to do that, all right, to do it each and every day. And to stick with that discipline approach, it takes a lot of toughness to do that over and over and over. And then you got to believe in what you're doing, all right, that's a key. And so those three factors there, that discipline, toughness, and conviction, are the keys to our success moving forward, the things we have to do. And then as coaches, no different. We got to put a plan in there and make sure that we are dialed as coaches and we have the guys in the right spots. That's our job as coaches, to get our players prepared. We owe that to them, and everybody in that locker room knows that.
Bryan, we saw TJ sort of holding his shoulder a couple times after that awkward landing in the second half. When you went more to Robbie. Was that TJ not feeling too well in the shoulder, or was that just?
Well, yeah, he got banged up a little bit in the game. I think some other guys did as well. That's football. That happens during the games and all that. And so, guys, I don't think that impacted too much of the decision to go with Robbie at that point. But TJ was trying to make plays out there as well, and Robbie came in and did some good things for us. But just it's not enough. And I think the key in this one here is halftime was 14-6. The game's not out of hand. You're not playing like you want to in the first half, but the game's still close. You're not that far out. We have a chance to get the ball back, drive down and score. I think we went 3 and out on that drive there, and that was one that hurt us just from a momentum standpoint. But even at that point, the score's not out of hand, and it comes back to us executing. And but the decision for that was not necessarily off of him not being able to go. TJ's a tough guy. He showed toughness tonight too, and we felt like Robbie had some plays in there and that he could get some things going, and he did. Move the ball down the field. We scored. Had a nice throw to Jarquez that made a great play there, and that's probably too little, obviously. At that point, and probably a little too late there, but at the same time, those guys were executing, and we just had to do more of that.
Coach, what was the big difference from the second quarter to the third quarter, because the momentum really changed?
What do you mean specifically?
Like, got outscored 17-0 in the third quarter, turned the ball over twice.
Yeah, well, the turnovers, that's a big factor. That comes into play. It's a game of momentum too. Right, that's one thing. You got to get it back. You got to get the momentum when you're down. You got to get some momentum. You got to create that. You got to go execute to do that. And when you make some plays, I think you feel that momentum. But really, we just didn't get into a consistent enough groove to get that momentum back. And credit to Penn State too. Those guys were playing well. They were running the ball effectively. So they had some things in the run game. They were creating some big explosive plays from that standpoint, and so we never got the momentum like we needed to in the second half or that third to fourth quarter.
Bryan, what were they able to do in the run game? In particular, they outrushed you guys by like 120 yards. Yeah,
well, I think they broke some tackles. Their backs ran hard. I don't know if there's anything schematically that they necessarily did that we hadn't seen. I think their kids just made some good plays. They broke some tackles. I think there were some opportunities for us to make those plays. And those guys we knew. We knew that their running backs were good. We knew that they had a chance they got in the open field. We got a tackle. But really it was that. They had some explosive runs. I don't know how many, but I know they had several explosive runs. That creates the large gap and difference in the rush game.
And then to follow, what were they able to do to slow you down running the ball?
Well, they moved up front. We ran the ball fairly well. They did some things, and we knew they would. I mean, their D-line moved. They hit us in the backfield a couple times. They created some penetration, created some negative plays. And, I don't know all the answers and the reasons why that happened, but that's what I saw on the field today. And so when you get some negative plays and early downs, the goal was to stay ahead of the chains. And I think we got behind the chains because of that. But we had some big explosive runs in there as well. We just didn't have enough. And when the score starts to get to what it is, you're not running the ball as much. You got to throw it. You got to put it in the air. You got to try to move the ball down the field. You got to use a little tempo to try to just get back into a rhythm and really try to score faster, because you got to make up a lot of ground because of the score. So that becomes a factor in the game as well.
Bryan, was there ever any consideration at any point in the game to put Zach in?
Yeah, we talked about it, and I think we wanted to keep Robbie in there and let him keep playing. He got an opportunity to get in there and do that. So we'll see. I mean, I think that that'll be something we'll evaluate everything as we go into this week. All right, that's what we always do, and see what's going to be the best combination for us to be prepared and ready to go out there and play against Missouri. So, We go back and look at the film and really dissect it and figure out what the real issues are. Because it's not one player. That's the one thing. In football, it's never just one guy. All right, it comes back to an entire team effort or lack thereof. When it's all said and done, and you win as a team, you lose as a team. I mean, that's really what the message is. So, we'll look at why, and but I'm not going to put all the pressure, and reasons on one particular player. It's just, what were we doing or what were we not doing? That's really what we have to dissect and look at and make sure that we are better prepared for those things as we go into this next week.
Coach Farm back right, Jeff.
Hi, Bryan. Jeff Spiegel, ABC 3340. How concerned are you about TJ's turnovers? I think there are 5 in 3 games now.
Yeah, well, I'm concerned about the turnovers in general. And, on the year, I think we are -8, all right, when it's all said and done. So, and I said that last week, that's not a sustainable formula, right? We pride ourselves in taking care of the football. We talk all about the ball. I thought, we've done that in the past. We've taken care of the ball. We got to get it. We got to get some takeaways on the defensive side, but we can't turn it over. And that's the reality. I think everybody knows that. But it happened, and you got to be able to overcome it. But we had too many in this game, and the 4 turnovers become, that's a change of possession that you don't have, and that doesn't create field position for you. It hurts you, put our defense in some bad spots. So we got to eliminate those. And that's, I think everybody knows they got to eliminate the turnovers, got to take care of the football, you got to play field position. And the one thing about playing quarterback, sometimes those plays aren't there, and you may have to throw it away. You could be 3 plays in a row, and it's not what you want, but that's the right decision, and we got to be able to do that. I'll look at the film and see exactly why those things happened, but we got to clean that up. The turnovers have to be cleaned up. We got to be better at that, and we got to win that turnover battle. Our goal is always +1, but we haven't been that. And in a game like this, when you're playing a really good football team and you turn the ball over that many times, they're going to take advantage of it. They're going to put points on the board, and you're also putting your defense out there quite a bit. We did that tonight.
How valuable can a night like this be for Robbie, just for really his first real extensive playing time in the offense?
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, it really comes down to that. And I know Robbie, here's the thing, those guys, they want to learn. All right, they do. They really want to go out there. They want to learn. They want to be better. Every one of those guys are disappointed. They know that, we have a better football team than what we showed tonight. But we got to go out there and we got to do that. And so there's work to be done. And win or lose, there's always going to be work to be done. That's the beauty of football. I think that's the challenge for all of us, especially when you get disappointed like we did today. Guys are really disappointed. Will you come back and will you go to work? Right, I think that's the lesson learned, and it happens in front of a lot of people. It happens, on a big stage. When you go out there and your test at the end of the week, if you fail that by not getting the win, are you willing to come back to work? Are you willing to fight through some of the things that maybe didn't go well, and maybe that as a coach or a player you didn't do well? Are you willing to come back and work on those things? I think those guys are, and that's where we as coaches have to do a better job with them. All right, they'll learn. These guys are students of the game. They'll learn, and so we got to teach better, and we got to help these guys through some of those struggles that we had tonight, and we'll do that. And I think for Robbie, there's a lot of film now, more film, that he can take and watch and learn and grow and develop, and I fully expect that he'll do that. He'll be in the film room. He'll be watching. He'll be working on those things. I expect everybody on this football team will be doing that, because again, it comes back to, did we execute on this particular play or this situation or not? It's really kind of a yes or no, right, when it comes down to it. And so the emotion part, it was there, but it's a matter of fact, and that's what we have to do, is make sure that we understand that and why and learn from it, and then be able to go out there and execute those things better, because we're going to see those things again, all right, throughout the season.
Right, Carrie.
Hey, Coach. Carrie Osaka, BBTM out of Birmingham. So you've spoken these past few weeks about the benefit of having multiple guys in the quarterback position, but obviously when you get down in a deficit, sometimes it's good to use the confidence in one guy and to also use that leadership. So I want to know, just how do you overcome that if you continue kind of cycling through different quarterbacks if one doesn't get the chance to build that confidence?
Sure. Yeah, well, in games like this and moments like this, you go back and reevaluate that too. The one thing about coaching and operating a football team throughout the season, you have a plan, and if it's working, all right, you continue to use that plan. If the plan doesn't work, then you reevaluate the plan. and you look at it and go, all right, is this the best thing moving forward? I think that's always got to be the case, and it's not just at the quarterback position. It's really everywhere. I think as a coach, you look at the schemes, you look at the play calling, you look at the practice plan, all those things. What do we have to do now to make this football team better? And that's the challenge we have, and that's really where you get to sit down and go, all right, what is the focus going to be this week, and what do we have to do to get ourselves back into a rhythm, create the momentum that we need? And so we'll look at all that. We'll reevaluate what the plan is, what it looks like moving forward, all right, who those players are going to be that can go out there and execute that plan that you want to put together. That's a winning formula, going into this next game. So we'll do all those things this week.
Bryan, 11 touches for Tank Bigsby today, including just one in the second quarter. Was there a plan to get him the ball more? Why do you think he didn't have more touches today?
Well, I think the obvious is that we got behind and we had to throw the football. I mean, that's really what it came down to. I don't know all the reasons, but yeah, we want to get Tank the ball. We want to get Jarquez the ball. We want to run the football. And I think the big thing was, the score and trying to do some things to get him the ball. And the pass game is included in that too. So there was opportunities for him there as well. So it's not all just the touches in the run game, it's touches in the pass game and other opportunities. So, but we do want to get the ball in his hands and those tailbacks. You saw Jarquez tonight when we did that. It was on a throw, but he got a chance to get out there and make a big play. So we'll look at that again and figure out how we get the ball in our playmakers' hands. And sometimes the game changes. Sometimes the plan that the team you're playing, they know that too, and what they're trying to take away. So you got to make some adjustments in the game as well.
Good. Two more. No.
Coach, no, from the Plainsman. What was the difference between their offense and the red zone, finishing with 5 rushing touchdowns?
Well, they finished with 5 rushing touchdowns.
Oh,
yeah, they ran the ball well. They did. They really did. They ran the ball well in the red zone. And I thought they were physical in the red zone when they ran it. We tried to be down there as well, wanted to run the football and do those same things. I think some of the field position that we gave them allowed them to do that. They didn't have to really operate from the 25-yard line and work their way all the way down the field. And so when you give them a short field, I think they had a couple plays that got them down there quickly in the pass game, and then, they're not really having to drive and put together a 12-play drive. It was, more 4 or 5 plays, and they were able to be physical down there in the red zone when they did that. And our defense is coming off it just being on the field. So some of those turnovers created, I think, opportunities for Penn State to be able to do that in the red zone.
Right.
Yes, Bryan, this results tonight or today could generate some talk about your job security. How do you handle that personally, and how do you handle that? How do you help your team and your coaching staff deal with that? Yeah,
well, I mean, number one, I'm always coaching for this football team, all right, and these players, number one. And I can't control that. I can control, what I do each and every day. What I've always done is coach for this team, these players, these coaches, make sure I'm doing my job, having our team prepared and all that. And, I don't control any of those other things other than what I do and each and every day. So, and that's been no different since I've been a GA to being a head football coach. I've operated the same way and had the same mindset. So we put more expectations on ourselves than anybody else. All right, and that's always been that way. So at the end of the day, I'm disappointed for our football team. And my job is to make sure that we put together a plan and put a football team out there that can go compete and play at a high level. And, that's always the expectations. So the standard needs to be better than what it was, and that's really all we're going to focus on. And, and for our football team, it's the same thing. I tell those guys that. And I think the lessons in all this is, when you're in it, when you're in the arena, which is what we do, all right, we're the ones that are in the arena each and every week, all right? We're the ones that put the work in each and every week, all right? That's what we can control. And, I love being a part of that. I love putting plans together and processes and all those things so that we can do that. And, at the end of the day, this is why we get a chance to do what we do, because we're good at it. And I believe in this team, and I believe in what we're doing, and we got to be better at it. So, at the end of the day, that's all I ever focus on.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.